Hey, what's going on YouTube? This is Brian916. Thanks for tuning in and welcome back. In this particular video, I'm talking about Tekton tools and whether or not they hold up. So I don't know if you guys know this, but in this particular shop here, the repairs that we do are large engine repairs for the most part. Full engine rebuilds. We get those quite often. Cylinder head jobs, whether it be gasket issues or cylinder head warpage issues due to overheating, valve issues, what have you. We do a lot of internal engine work. Also, we do transmission replacements and transmission rebuilds. So that's the majority of the work that we do here. Of course, our customers still bring us vehicles with check engine lights on, so we still have to fix lean codes and evap leaks and catalytic converter codes, stuff like that, misfires. We do deal with that stuff, but the majority of our work is large engine repairs, and that's what most people know us for and bring us vehicles with those type of issues. So the tools that I use and my partner use, we put through heavy use. We gotta bust bell housing bolts with them and crank bolts with them, and we torque head bolts down with them. We bust head bolts loose. Any fastener you could think of, our tools got to get them off. So Tekton tools, will they actually hold up in that type of environment? So I chose to do this 2-cent video on Tekton a lot later than most technicians have, because I really haven't had a chance to really work with them to say yay or nay. So all the recommendations of tools that I give, I know because I've worked with them. So if I vouch for a Harbor Freight tool, a certain Pittsburgh ratchet or a certain Pittsburgh impact socket, it's because I've used the hell out of it and have had no problems with it, and it works over and over. So I typically like to wait before I vouch for a tool, and I could strongly say Tekton tools will hold up in a heavy shop environment, but I don't know about all of them, but some of them will. So let's go over here to the bench behind me and take a look at some of these Tekton tools, and I can tell you a little bit more. All right, so here we are at the tools. I try to get sort of an angle shot to get them all in here, so hopefully this shot works. Anyway, I'm gonna start with the pry bar. I'm gonna show you this first because I've actually used this pry bar. You can see the difference in use. I mean, this one doesn't even have Tekton on it no more because I've used it so much. But I've used this pry bar for quite a while, and you see my coworker bought one because it's an inexpensive pry bar, and he's seen that I've been using mine and it's been holding up. And that's pretty much how we buy tools. One guy will buy it. If it works, the next guy will buy it. If it doesn't work, then we can save that other person some money, not wasting his money. So this pry bar has held up, but I can tell you it's not the best pry bar. This pry bar is far from being straight. This camera obviously probably ain't gonna pick it up, but it's curved out from prying. So it will get light prying done. But if you need to do like some serious prying on this thing, this ain't the way to go. If you're dropping a motor in and it's just about lined up on the motor mount, and you're trying to pry it over just like 1/4 of an inch to get the bolt to go through or something like this thing will bend up on you, and I don't think it's the greatest pry bar. So I think that as far as pry bars go on Tekton, I'm not gonna recommend the pry bar unless you use it for light uses, prying off, I don't know, brake calipers, or prying an alternator off, or prying a shock out or something like that. this is just fine. But for heavy automotive use, I can't recommend the pry bar. So that takes us next to the jumbo size wrenches. All right, so this is a big 36 millimeter wrench. And although I don't get too many uses where I need a 36 millimeter wrench, I do get some cases, this one's a 34, but I do get some cases where I do need like maybe a big, like maybe I don't know, 28 millimeter wrench. And I can't say that the jumbo wrenches I definitely recommend. So if you work in the field, maybe diesel repair, and you guys use big jumbo wrenches like this for, you know, large tractor trailers and the large, you know, big trucks, you know, for shipping cargo and stuff. It slipped my mind, but yeah, these wrenches I definitely recommend. Recommend those for big rig use. There we go. That's what I wanted to say. All right. So next, that brings me to, I'll just stay with wrenches since I've already think that the wrenches are good. So we'll just stick with wrenches. This stubby set, obviously is stubby. If you need to put that much torque on it, you probably shouldn't be using a stubby. So the stubby is completely fine. You could definitely buy a stubby Tekton set. Next, we got the stubby ratcheting, and they work great. I've only had to use a couple sizes, so, but again, you know, it is a stubby set, so you shouldn't need that much torque on it, so it should be fine. But I have used this to get an AC compressor out on like a Kia Sedona minivan or something like that, and this really helped me out. I vouch for the stubby ratcheting wrenches as well. And then your combination wrench set, I got one imperial size, and I do have a metric set that I leave at home. The combination wrench set is just fine. You really can't go wrong with the price on these, and they do hold up. So, you know, it's a good wrench. They grip well. The fitment is fair. You're not going to round any bolts off with these. They're fairly long. Could be a little bit longer, but you know, for the price and for what they are, these definitely will hold up in a heavy shop environment or heavy use. So that brings me to the screwdrivers next. Now these screwdrivers, I think, are a really good deal. Of course, screwdrivers is probably the most abused tool in both auto mechanics tool sets, because we use them for more than just screwing out screws. We may use a little flathead like this to, you know, get a little bit of leverage under a valve cover or something, or whatever the case may be. And so I haven't had one chip on me. I've misused them quite a bit. I don't hammer on them or anything because they don't have striking pads on them. But as far as using them for screwdrivers, they work great. They have a nice grip on them. So I would definitely say these can be used for heavy use, depending on how bad you beat them up. But as far as using them for what they're made for, I think that these can be used for heavy use. The tips on them are very hard. You know, usually you get, you know, soft tips on the screwdrivers, on cheap screwdrivers, and it'll gouge out whatever screw it is you're trying to get out. But these don't do that. And the design on them, they fit and slot in the screwdriver as well. You can feel how sturdy it is right when you get it in there. So I'll go ahead and approve these for heavy use, I guess. Not that I'm the tool guru, but I can tell you I use this stuff every day, and I'm just speaking from past experience. So I would approve these for heavy use. Okay, so that takes us on to their sockets. Now this is the only socket set that I have from Tekton, so I can't really speak on impact sockets or anything else like that. But from my understanding, their impact sockets are good from speaking to other technicians and other YouTubers. But so I have this set, and I have nothing against this set. It holds up, you know. I use it on my impact gun when I'm not supposed to and everything else, and I've never had a problem with it, okay? So I would definitely, I can't really vouch for the sockets because I haven't used them enough, but for light use, I think these will be just fine. All right, so that brings me to Tekton's ratchets and their wobble extensions, or their extensions. I only have their wobble extensions. I needed a set of wobble extensions. Those of you who don't know what a wobble extension is, which I doubt, but if you don't, it's the extensions that allow the socket to flex so that you could get it, you know, at an angle. So for those of you who may have not known what a wobble socket or wobble extension is, so I had to pick up a set of these, and it seemed like all my old wobble extensions, the sockets just fall right off of them. I got some old Matco wobble extensions that I've had for like a really long time, close to when I first started. Back when I used to buy only off the tool truck, back when I didn't know any better. And so all of those, they have lasted me a long time, I'll tell you that, but I paid a lot for them as well, so they better have. But so it was time to replace a lot of those wobble extensions. So I got a Tekton set, and I can tell you this set's good. I don't think you're gonna have a whole lot of problem with using these extensions. They're a lot sturdier and stronger than I thought. I've already put a lot of torque on these, thinking that the wobble was gonna shear right off, and it didn't even make a budge. So these things are a lot stronger, and their extensions are a lot sturdier than you think. Moving down to the ratchets, I got these little stubbies here that I purchased from Tekton. They don't get used too often. It seems like the quarter one gets used a little more, but I mean, it's just to get in a tight spot to run a bolt out or run a bolt in. So of course I recommend them for heavy use, because you're not gonna really use these for heavy use. So sure, it's fine. Now that brings me to the ratchets. You know, I'm conflicted a little bit on the ratchets, because I've seen this ratchet break a bolt loose and it should have broke. If I was a gambling man, I would have lost my money. But it bust the bolt loose and it still works. So I'm a little conflicted, because I seen this ratchet should have bust the bolt easy with all this length on it, no problem, and this ratchet popped. So I'm a little conflicted between the ratchets on them, and I think because of that, it's hard to say if these will work for heavy use. Now, the only ratchet I will vouch for heavy use is going to be this long half-inch ratchet. I've seen this thing. We use this thing to bust pretty big bolts off, and we've never had a problem. So it's not even close to breaking this thing. This is probably the only ratchet that I would recommend for heavy use. I don't think I'm gonna recommend these for like serious shop environment. This one is great for serpentine belts if you want to use it for that, but if you want to like use this to bust bolts with, it's gonna pop. So this is my take on Tekton tools. Like I said, all of these tools that I've shown you, I've used, and I've used for a while. And so I could give you more of a realistic take on Tekton tools, and if whether or not they hold up. And the added benefits to Tekton tools, if you do decide to buy them, I do recommend people just starting out, maybe techs that's going to school right now, So go with Tekton. These tools will hold up for your skill level or your skill set right now. These tools should be just fine for someone just starting out. I also recommend these tools for long-time professionals who want to save a buck here and there. There are tools from their line that is absolutely nothing wrong with. The wrenches are fantastic. The screwdrivers work, the sockets work. The stubbies, the ratcheting stubbies. So some of their stuff will hold up in a heavy shop environment. Okay, and then last but not least, I wanted to talk about their warranties are fantastic. They got some of the best warranties. This is actually a warranted Ratchet. My co-worker took a picture of it, boom, sent them another one in the mail, and I believe it got here in like 3 or 4 days. One other added feature I wanted to mention is an email that I got from Tekton today. They have some tool rewards program where they'll actually give you like cash back to buy more tools. So you can see I racked up $15.80 on Tekton tools. So of course I'm gonna redeem that and I'm gonna buy another tool. So they do have good warranty practices, and they also have some type of program where you can rack up points to keep buying more tools. So I do recommend Tekton tools for a heavy shop environment. Hopefully the tools that I showed here might guide you in a way to sort of buy some tools that you can use in the shop, heavy use. Again, this is Brian916. Thanks for watching my video. Please hit like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.